holy day for us. And we just want to get out and just have a good time, go through the community, celebrating that day. All the information that I had here is summed up in what I just told you. But I am open to any questions that anybody has.
So that half of it goes through my area and half of it goes through this area right down here. So I put out to my constituents, there was really not much feedback. I mean, they were like, fine, whatever. But Mike, what are the hours again?
The parade will be from 12:30 through 1.
That's
Starting at 12 through 1:30.
I'm sorry, what was the date?
June 12 to 1:30, June the 8th.
So an hour and a half.
Yes.
Possible longer, all depends how many people decide to want to take their time and stroll.
What did y'all ask for?
We asked for 12 to 1:30, 2 o'clock, that's what we asked for.
Okay, so 12 to 2. So as long as they know for like where my area is, that everything will be done by 2, they'll be fine.
Our plans were 12 to 1:30, but he did tell us that, what he just said, so we threw it at 2 o'clock. to make sure that-
And for folks that don't have a copy of the map, can you just walk us through the route, please?
That's fine.
We will leave in front of the church across the street, go up to Elm Street, make a left for west on Elm to 5th, north on 5th to N. And we come east on N Street to First Street, south on First Street to K to New Jersey, and back to our location.
And the signage that you all are gonna get, can you make sure that it's up in the appropriate amount of time?
Yes,
Because that is a big deal when these, wherever it is, when the signs don't go up and they're like, oh, it's just up the night before. I think it's 72 hours? Yeah, 72 hours has to be up. So that just, you just gotta have that up.
it will be
Because
done.
they'll go crazy otherwise.
It shall be done.
Is this gonna affect parking in any way?
No, we're not asking it, we only on, we're not asking it for any special possibility. We just want to be able to get through the streets.
Station area will be on Pierce for those who will be participating, and on L. So they leave out of Pierce Street, open at 1 o'clock, and out of L Street by 1:15, and we should be back on the parking lot by 2:30 or 3 o'clock.
That's why he's in charge of the logistics.
Okay, I just wanna make sure there's not gonna be any no parking, issues that,
We hope to have, we're on the south side of Pierce Street, right behind you, south side of Pierce Street for staging, and the north side of L Street for staging. Those vehicles that wanted, with the seniors and floats that might be in the parade.
So when y'all cross, you're crossing New Jersey Avenue going from west to east, right? Is that correct?
No.
No, you cross, this way you're crossing New Jersey Avenue. You're on N Street and you're crossing New Jersey Avenue. So how are you gonna be able to handle the southern traffic in terms of, are you gonna like pause and then go?
We're trying to have them, they go as the light go.
Okay,
This is what caused the parade might go a little longer than we would
gotcha.
want it to be, as we go across New York Avenue. We're gonna try to move with the light,
Because that's the biggest intersection that you all are pretty much.
New Jersey and New York.
Yeah.
Same
And
way,
well, New
coming
Jersey
back,
and N Street, because that's still, there's a light there too.
Yeah,
You have a light there at New Jersey and N.
right.
Yeah.
So all those busy intersections, including First and New York, we're gonna try to flow with the traffic.
So do you have people at these intersections so that they go, okay, everyone go?
Right. Each intersection will be 2 people
Okay,
to make sure they get the north, south, east, and west traffic, and get them across.
okay.
are they gonna be wearing something, like
They be
a
having-
vest or a cap or something that's gonna indicate their traffic control?
yes, they will.
I fear somebody saying, I'm not listening to you, I'm not gonna pay attention.
No,
You're gonna have somebody who is in charge of each of those.
Yes,
I'm
they
sure
will.
that there's some that it won't pay attention to.
So, but you're
Well-
coordinating with FPD to get their assistance for this?
Yeah,
We wanted your approval, the application is with MPD, I'm in the chief's office now,
Okay,
but we wanted your approval before we hear from them.
The big thing with Meyer will just be the time, that if you're 2, it's done.
We're,
Two is done,
Yeah, 2, it's done.
2 is done.
we're concerned with inconveniencing the people.
We'll be
That's
finished
not our
at 2.
purpose.
I agree.
So I need to tell, here's my folk on M Street, here's my people on N. So what am I telling them about when they're trying to move their car?
We're not asking for any parking.
No, I'm saying, but, okay, I'm.
If someone wants to leave
here's
their
the
house,
parade,
they wanna
but
go.
I wanna go to the grocery store, my car's there, so I mean, should I tell them just relax for a couple hours?
Give us a couple hours. We'll
All right.
get you one.
Okay.
How many people are you anticipating participating in the parade?
About 500.
Commissioner Minor, did you want to make a motion on this since it affects your
Okay,
constituents?
I motion that ANC 6E support the Pentecost parade for the Bible Way Church on Sunday, June 8th, from 12 to 2 p.m.
Friendly amendment to specifically state the approval is for the route for the parade, and that we communicate this to the chief of the Metropolitan Police Department.
Okay.
Excellent.
And then second.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
That's unanimous. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Come on up.
Next, we have consideration of a resolution in support of quality neighborhood schools. And we have one of our colleagues from the DuPont Circle that serves on the Ward 2 Education Network to share this resolution that there, folks, if you need to engage in outside conversations, please step outside of the room. So the objective is to get as many advisory neighborhood commissions to endorse the objectives that have been laid out in this resolution that we're sharing copies with my colleagues on. So if you'd be so kind as to introduce yourself for the record and let us know what you're looking for.
Sure. Hi, my name is Stephanie Maltz, and I'm an ANC Commissioner in DuPont Circle. This is a resolution that I drafted talking about the importance of quality neighborhood schools. I worked with my Ward 2 Education Network colleagues, and then I shared it with my colleagues in the Ward 7 Education Council, Ward 8 Education Council, Ward 5 Education Council, as well as other people, other ANCs. This is a very generic way to show that ANCs across the city support the right to a quality neighborhood school. It is in no way offensive to people who want charter schools. It is just saying that neighborhoods should have a good community school and should have quality neighborhood right options. So some ANCs have added this neighborhood specifics, others are just passing it more generally. But what we're trying to do is get ANCs in every ward, at least one or two in every ward, to pass similar resolutions so we can show a unified front on education. The reason why this is coming up now is because, for those of you who don't follow education issues as much, the Deputy Mayor of Education just came out with a new boundary feeder plan, two of the three options, which involve choice sets and essentially get rid of neighborhood schools entirely. So I don't know if you all have any questions, need some more information.
I think you hit the nail on the head, and in talking to the parents in my jurisdiction, parents want to be able to have as many options as possible, and those options, that they most desire are the ones that they'd be able to walk their child to school, or to have their child, walk to school at appropriate ages by themselves. And then obviously at high school, there's an understanding that there might be some greater distances that might need to be traversed. But that we can't have great schools in some neighborhoods and lousy schools in other neighborhoods and believe that is fair. The idea is that every school, every parent, every child, should be able to point to a school that they are comfortable having their child attend, and that the children are comfortable in, that is as close as possible to where they live. And I think that is, a pretty universal desire. So, questions on members of the commission?
I assume this is like a phase one, and then there's gonna be some sort of a group or task force or something that's going to take this another level Because this won't do anything.
So in terms of what we're doing as ANCs, or in terms of what they're doing with the Deputy Mayor of Education's, what they're doing with the plan. So so the point is just at this point, just to get support from across the board for ANC commissioners, because different neighborhoods view what their schools are differently, and this is meant to just be a generic showing everyone in the city joining forces together. In June, the initial proposals from the Deputy Mayor of Education came out a couple weeks ago in April, and they're re-releasing everything again in mid-June. So there's an opportunity again, once those are released, to find common grounds where we can all come together. It's just that there seems to be a lot of divisiveness, and sometimes you see a lot of parents against parents, neighbors against neighbors, schools against schools, and I think this is a really good opportunity for ANCs to come together and have a united front.
Other questions? Questions from the community? Mr. Bolton?
Hi, good evening. I'm engaged in some of the community school issues. I was at the boundary meeting a couple weeks ago at Dunbar. I think it's a little simplistic to say we just want neighborhood schools. It benefits white communities. It doesn't benefit majority poor black communities. I think it's ironic that last fall the Deputy Mayor for Education told us all that her children go to a year-round school. They're not in the DCPS system. And I think every parent needs a right and access to a quality school wherever it is. And we need to stop hampering that level of choice by saying we're going to put resources into failing schools that for years have not performed well. And I think we just need to focus on the great schools and expand opportunities to get parents into those schools.
So just so you know where I came from on this, I live across the street from Ross Elementary, which is now an amazing school. When it started, when it became a great school 5, 6 years ago, it was all of the out-of-boundary parents who made that school amazing. I've been coaching Girls on the Run there for the past 3 years, so my 5th graders were 3rd graders when I started. Most of these parents, 18 of the 21 4th graders are out of boundary. And by out of boundary, I mean not even Ross boundary, they're out of Ward 2. I want to do something to try and help these parents because I feel like their options are so limited and they've done such amazing things. And Ross is one of those schools in the city, one of the only schools in the city that has no achievement gap. And there are other pockets like Brent, Murray, Powell, and we're trying to work with those schools together. And so this is more simplistic, and I did actually, like I said, I talked to the people in Ward 5 Education Council, and Ward 7, and Ward 8, and the reason why this is so general is because I didn't want anything to have any unintended negative consequences, which there are some resolutions out there that are specific saying, we like proposal B because X, Y, and Z, and they're having unintended negative consequences to the areas that need it the most, and so there are other things that are being done on the ground in terms of like, I think that DCPS really needs to take models of schools that are succeeding, whether there's no achievement gap or some of the charter schools like KIPP that are doing really great things with high poverty, high needs kids. And so that needs to be, I can't tell DCPS what to do, but I know that there's gonna be a new mayor, so hopefully the new mayor will do a better job at that. But I think for me, one of the things that's most disheartening is, when you go to all those meetings or when you go to, and you watch Katanya's hearing, you hear the parents get up and say, I want this for my school. People aren't just really, it's hard to do things in a way that we can help all the kids throughout the city. And I'm also talking to a couple of schools that are trying to do modernization right now and seeing if we can sort of partner with, when the modernization comes, there's a lot of lobbying involved and things like that. And if there's ways that we can partner across the city so that when those come up again the next year, it's not my school versus your school. It's like, okay, here's what we've all come to this agreement and this is how we think that you should do that. So those are some of the things that we're trying to do. And I've been in schools across the city, so this is coming from a genuine place, just so you know.
No, I appreciate your effort. I think we're on the same page. We want great schools for all.
For everybody, yeah.
But as I brought out in these boundary meetings, only a quarter of DCPS students actually attend schools in their neighborhood. 3/4 of them go elsewhere, and I think that says that parents are willing to walk outside their neighborhood just to make sure the kids are getting a quality education. And let's support the parents.
Well, the idea behind this resolution is to encourage DCPS and the deputy mayor and the chair of the education committee to have as a goal the fact that parents shouldn't have to send their kids across town to be able to get a quality education. That's what this is about. So, hearing no other comments, I move that Advisory Neighborhood Commission 6E approve the resolution supporting quality neighborhood schools, and that we submit our resolution to the mayor, deputy mayor for education, and the chair of the education committee of the District of Columbia Council. And I would ask for a second.
A second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Thank you very much. That's unanimous. Thank you for all your hard work on this.
And we are having, the Words of Education Network is having a meeting on May 17th, and we've invited 8 of our local principals, and we think that either Kim Jackson from Seton or somebody else is gonna be there, so I'll send you that information. We invited, who was it, Seton, Marie Reed, Garrison, Ross,
Cleveland.
Thompson, Cleveland, and Francis Stevens, so we're hoping to get at least a showing from all of them, meet and greet, so I'll send you guys the information. We'd love to have you there.
Great.
Thank
Keep up
you.
the good work. Moving on to consideration of community impact statements for the sentencing.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't have to do this.
For Malcolm Smith, Raheem McWilliam, and Robert McEacher. So we turn to the chair of our Public Safety Committee.
These 3 gentlemen, I shouldn't call them gentlemen for selling drugs. These 3 males, Mr. Smith, McMillan, and Mr. McEachern, all pled guilty to involvement in cocaine distribution and drug distribution conspiracy. They sold these drugs 500 feet within a drug-free zone, which is close to Maya Angelou Public Charter School, Cleveland Elementary School, New Bethel Baptist Church, Howard University, as well as Walker T. Daniel Library. So we need to submit a community impact statement before June 12th, which is their sentencing hearing. So I think this really is a no-brainer for us to support it. So at this time, I move the ANC 6E support the community impact statement submitted by the ANC 6E Public Safety Subcommittee in reference to DC versus Malcolm G. Smith versus DC versus Raheem McMillan and DC versus Robert McEachern, and the CIS be submitted to Honorable Judge Josie Herron in time for sentencing hearings taking place on June 12th, 2014.
I would second that. Any questions on the part of the commission? Questions on the part of the audience? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. It's unanimous. Thank you very much. Moving on to 302 to 304 M Street Northwest. We received, after the week notice date for our meetings, a notification that
Well, okay, so, I don't think we've ever met.
I was actually here last month for another case, but I'm Meredith Boldenhauer, I'm counsel for the applicant. The applicant, this case is actually bifurcated, which I think is the confusing aspect of it. 302, the architect is applying separately. 304, I'm counsel for the applicant that's going through the BZA. And so I know the architect talked to you about 302, but 304.
Okay, he didn't talk to any of us, so here's the
Anyone
deal.
here?
Oh, I'm
We're
sorry.
not, we're gonna oppose, this, how would you say
well,
that?
what we're going to do is
We have to
that
go to committee for one
we
thing.
are.
Yeah, exactly, and here's how it works in my area. We get the word out, I talk to my constituents, I go door to door, it goes public on my Facebook page, everyone's got an opinion, and we got no outreach from no one. 302, 304, whoever.
Our
Nothing.
purpose, I'm sorry about that, and obviously, this has been a disconnect between the architect who's handling the 302 portion and then our firm that's handling the 304 portion. We're here today just to simply present. We're not asking for anything, just simply to inform the community about what's going on and to present to you just the general information. Our plan was then to come back to the zoning commission and then to come back next month for a formal vote. We were just gonna simply kind of walk over.
Okay, we did not contemplate your presence here this evening.
Okay, and
But
I
how did you
apologize.
find out about this, about here, coming here, if you didn't talk to any of us?
The architect for the project was coordinating.
With who?
I was informed by, that the architect was coordinating with you. Will Hesse, sorry, I'm sorry.
So,
Again,
so
obviously I work with you guys.
here's the situation. You know, because application number 18782 has a request for expedited review, we, in order to be able to meet the requirement of a 14-day notice, that we would like to have this taken off of the expedited review in the event that when we actually have a presentation, have all the information before us, we choose to be an active participant in the case, we need to vote tonight to ask for it to come off pending any further information, because our next meeting will take place on exactly 14 days before the hearing. So that's the situation, why we have this on the agenda at all.
And I understand that, and I apologize. Again, if, we don't need to present tonight, because we weren't expecting us, but the purpose of us coming here is just simply, again, I'm representing the applicant on 304, to just present and inform you about the relief, and I'll communicate with you from now on, to make sure that our firm directly communicates
So-
with you, and we don't rely upon.
What I need from you tonight is that you can email me all this stuff, and then I'll post it, and then I go, like I said, I go door to door and all this type of thing. And I get feedback from my folk, and then, you know, if you have, when you come back here, then you come back here. But it's a big deal, that whole street, is anything like M Street is a big deal, you have no idea. I mean, they go, because we're talking about the parking relief, you have that corner lot, it's big, this is big.
Well, the 304 is a vacant lot that.
Correct.
Yes.
That's right.
And that's the case that I was gonna present tonight. And then 302, the architect had applied for, which is not the corner lot, it's actually a lot, but it's currently the corner lot, because there's nothing, the vacant lot on the actual corner. But we understand, I understand there's been some concerns from HPRB from 302, but we will work with you, and we will do, obviously, you know.
Because how huge this is that on the opposite lot is gonna be potential hotel / very large apartment building. So you've got all this stuff literally happening in a 1 block radius, and my people have got to know, or they'll be like, I mean, this is how big this is.
304 is proposing a single-family home, which is not, you know, very, I think, in keeping with what was originally there before it was obviously then demolished and has been a vacant lot and kind of an eyesore for a long time. And so, you know, it's a very small lot, it's, you know, 698 square feet. But I'll send you the information, we'll post it.
All right.
And I apologize for the disconnect in regards to the communication. So Dr. Ulysses Gleed is here from the Fenton Group, and we will make sure to coordinate and appear before the zoning commission as I've done in other cases.
Right.
And
Okay, good.
Very cool.
Great.
All right, so again, I'm going to move that Advisory Neighborhood Commission 6E requests that BZA application number 18782 be removed from the expedited review calendar for the BZA hearing on June the 17th, 2014, and that we communicate that request to the Board of Zoning Adjustment. And I would ask for a second.
I second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. That's unanimous. Thank you very much. Moving to 620 T Street Northwest. The Howard Theater operators have requested a summer garden permit for their ABC license because they would like to operate a beer garden outdoors on a parking lot behind the Howard Theater, immediately to the south, along Wilford Street. And there has been significant input from residents from in Wilford Street related to this. This is in, actually, the adjacent residents who live on the east side of Wilford Street are in Mr. Chapel's single-member district. The west side of the street, which includes the Howard Theater as well as the Wonder Bread Factory, are in Ward 1, in ANC 1B specifically. So I'm going to pass this to Commissioner Chapel.
Yes, the Howard Theater wants to open up a beer garden on its back lot, which is adjacent to Wilford Street, which is a very unique, very narrow, 1 block street that has 7 residents on it. And the Howard Theater the proprietors of the Howard Theater have gained support of ANC 1B, which is across the street from these homes. This is the dividing line between Ward 6 and Ward 1, and also the boundary of my single-member district and the boundary of a new single-member district. We have, the residents and I met with the proprietors of the Howard Theater yesterday to discuss this matter, but there wasn't any satisfactory resolution in the minds of the residents that were there. So, as I said, ANC 1B has supported the beer garden, notwithstanding the fact that the residents that are across the street and not in the boundaries of ANC 1B are opposed to it. So I'm asking that ANC 6E oppose the Howard Theater's plans for a beer garden, and we communicate our opposition to Apple.
And I would second that. I think we have some representatives from Wilburger Street here this evening. If we can have someone come up and confirm what we've been hearing.
Yeah, first of all, thanks. Should I speak from here? Should I get up?
That's fine.
Okay. So thanks so much for giving us this opportunity to voice our concerns. I'm Eleanor Sonnen. I'm a resident of Wilburger Street. As you heard, there are 7 residences on the street, 6 of which are occupied right now. I'm here today representing the voice of those. There are a few of us, but you know, we speak with unified voice here. This is this proposal is, you've heard that our street is unique. I don't know how many of you have walked down it. It's narrow. The new construction on the street has created sort of a cavernous area around this parking lot. And I do want to preface this by saying we are big supporters of the Howard. I go there all the time. I love it. I love what it's done for the neighborhood. We really don't think that this parking lot on our street is the right place for them to have a beer garden. They're set up to do this sort of entertainment inside. We completely support that. But we're really concerned about noise issues. Like I said, the structural issues in the past when they've had events on this parking lot have kept us up until 1, 2 a.m. With amplified noise, with patrons coming and going. They have held these events in the past with no input from community members, and we've been laughed at basically when we call the police. We have a number of other concerns. I think noise and music are first and foremost, but there are also, traffic concerns, parking concerns. There's a number of other nightlife establishments in the general area, which we support in general. We like good neighbors. We also like entertainment and fun. We live in the city. We know that's what happens. That's great. But the Howard has not been particularly great of a neighbor, and we don't think that they will get any better if they become the proprietors of the beer garden. They're going to get worse. So that's pretty much what I have to say. I'm happy to provide more information. Any questions for me? I think Kevin heard most of our concerns yesterday when we were speaking with the Howard. We are pleased that they're listening to us, but ultimately they want to make money, and I think they're interested in going ahead with this. So thank you for opposing this.
So ANC 1B's ABC committee is the body that has heard this presentation and is recommending that ANC 1B, the commission, support the application from the Howard Theater. They are actually scheduled to meet on Thursday, and I've communicated to the chair of their ABC committee, as well as the single-member district commissioner responsible for the Howard Theater location, the concerns of our constituents, and that we were proposing to take some action here this evening. So this is a letter that will go to Abra. It is not a protest against the application, because it has not been placarded yet, because the ABC board has not processed it that way. But this is just to make sure that the ABC board knows that there are concerns and that we would like to be active participants in any determinations related to this case going forward. So, all that having been said, we have a motion that's been made and seconded on the floor. Any further discussion on the part of the members of the commission? Hearing none.
Wait a second, one
Yes.
second. Is the beer garden on the same, where's my lady? Is it on the same side, is it on the same side of the street as?
It's on the opposite side of the street. The street is a very narrow street. I think it's, I don't know how narrow. It's a one lane of traffic, so.
Okay, okay. Having, my 12th floor apartment building, just having had Drink District, I understand the noise and the music, and, I mean, that is, I mean, you're all row houses, right, or little houses
Yeah,
that
and
will
our
hear
bedrooms
every
all face the street,
sound.
and it's just basically steps from this, where this would be.
Yeah, okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Sure, and actually there is an apartment building, the 7 flats, on the other alley from the location for the proposed beer garden, that would have the same circumstances that you're describing, because they have 200 apartments over there, and I think that 1B hasn't taken that into consideration. So, 2 more comments?
Also, there are houses in the 600 block, in the 1800 block of 6th Street, who back up to Wilberger, and those in the 600 block of S Street that would have the same issue, so there would be support for you other than just the Wilberger.
We
Street
saw some
addresses.
activity on a discussion board earlier today
I
about that.
forwarded it, so.
Yeah.
Okay. Last comment.
How many ABC licensed establishments are on that block?
On the alley? There are none on the
Well,
alley.
no, around the block. I mean, Chief usually says it's within a square block, there shouldn't be anywhere close to like 7. I think there may have been 5 at least.
There are 6 with the Howard on the block itself.
I think it's insane that
So, again, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. That was unanimous?
We're opposing?
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
And that's unanimous. Thank you very much. Please have the record reflect that Commissioner Nigro was not present. Moving on to 931 R Street. This is actually a case that has already gone to.
I thought you forgot about us.
No, you're on here. The the HPRB, and so they've actually got the support of the board, but Mr. Avenatti wanted to make sure that we saw the project, and that we were aware of it, so we'll take a couple of months to hear the presentation.
Sure, thank you. So I picked this property up in